In this lesson, we will discuss very high frequency, VHF, high frequency, HF, selective calling, cell call, and the radio management panels, RMPs. The aircraft has three identical VHF communication systems. VHF-3 is normally used for ACARS, but it may be used for voice communications as a backup. In the emergency electrical configuration, only VHF number 1 functions. Each system has its own transceiver in the avionics bay and a separate antenna on the fuselage. The aircraft may be equipped with one or two identical HF communication systems. Each system has a separate transceiver in the avionics compartment, and if two systems are installed, a common tuner and a common antenna in the vertical stabilizer. The cell call system will advise the crew both orally and visually when a ground station is calling the aircraft. A buzzer sounds, and the appropriate radio call button illuminates in amber, indicating which VHF or HF radio is receiving the call. The call light can be canceled by pressing the reset key on the audio control panel. The radio management panels, or RMPs, allow the crew to control all of the VHF and HF radio communication equipment. Each RMP can control any VHF or HF radio. They can also be used as a backup to the FMGCs for controlling radio navigation systems. In the emergency electrical configuration, only RMP number 1 will function. The on-off switch controls electrical power to the RMP panel. The frequency selector knobs are used to select the radio frequency. The outer knob controls whole numbers, and the inner knob controls the decimal numbers. When a new frequency is selected, it is displayed in the standby window. Pressing the transfer key transfers the standby frequency to the active window, and the active frequency back to the standby window. Touch the frequency selector knob to select a new frequency, then the transfer key to transfer the new frequency to the active window. Pressing one of the radio comm selection keys on an RMP gives that RMP control of the selected radio and illuminates the green monitor light. Normally, RMP1 controls VHF1 and HF1, and RMP2 controls VHF2 and HF2. If a transceiver normally associated with one RMP is selected by another, the white selector light illuminates on both RMPs. For example, when the VHF number 2 radio comm selector key is pressed on RMP number 1, the number 2 transceiver will now also be tuned by RMP number 1. Both RMP number 1 and RMP number 2 will display the same tuned frequency, and the white selector light illuminates on both. Reselecting the VHF number 1 radio comm selection key on RMP number 1 will return control of VHF number 1 to RMP number 1, and the white selector lights go out. For aircraft with HF radios installed and selected, this push-button switch allows the selection of AM mode. When the push button is pressed, the indicator light is displayed, and the AM mode is now active. When the indicator light is out, the radio is in the default SSB or single sideband mode. Lifting the transparent guard and pressing the radio navigation backup mode key allows the pilot to tune navigation receivers and courses through the radio navigation selection keys. Normal communication radio selections and frequencies are unaffected. Backup navigation mode is covered in detail in the navigation module. If a microphone has been transmitting for more than 30 seconds, an ECAM caution is generated. Check that none of the press-to-talk switches are stuck, or select another transmission key to reset the caution.